Exciting times. So here we are, about to dig a hole for septic perk tests. It's kind of the first requirement in permitting. So yeah, happy to get started. Happy to not be digging holes by myself. This is going to be a 12-foot hole. There's supposed to be 3 12-foot holes, but I plan to do a composting toilet, which is a 42-gallon intercept, and a leach field that's I think under 300 feet or something like that. I think it's probably a lot less, and that's just for the gray water of the house, which puts you down. And I think that's a unique thing that you can do out here that is not available in other counties or other cities. So take note of that one, because you know, it is becoming more popular. They keep saying that, you know, for a 1-bedroom house you'd need a, you know, basically a $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 system, and that will help you with the resale. So that's a consideration. However, being able to do it yourself with a 42-gallon intercept, you're really putting a 55-gallon drum in the ground. That's going to be smaller than the test pit that this guy has to dig. And then you can, I need to find out more about it, but you can add, you know, your leach field onto that. You're probably going to be retaining as much water as you can yourself. And when I started looking into rain catchment and everything else, you know, there's a guy 5 minutes away that can deliver water. They quoted something like a few $100 for, you know, 4,000 gallons. They just get the city water. What the quote I got was $99 an hour, because basically it's just their machine time of taking it out here. They didn't really have rain this year. Guy that I just talked to, a neighbor that came by, he said that they have, I think, 4,200 gallons, and that's fine for the full year. But think about the infrastructure and everything else that has to go into that to do that. So my plan is to stay small, not worry about rain catchment at first, get water delivery, get all the systems working, and then make this as economical as possible and as expandable as possible, so I can get up and running without having an RV on the lot, and kind of establish the basic needs. All right, here we are. Exciting times. We're digging holes. There's a lot of gravel or a lot of rock in this soil, so even to use an auger would be very difficult. I've worked a lot with doing tests for geotechs and such, for pile foundations. You wouldn't want to do that in this soil. It's kind of a pain. So look at this, the days that I spent just running stuff over. Yeah, and he's going to be able to dig this hole. And he said he doesn't need the extra work. This guy's amazing. But I'm just going to point out what I see he welded in the side of his bucket, because I think that's very cool. And 1, 2, 3. Breaking ground. He's just telling me the difference in the soil here. He's saved a small pile aside here. That's the clay-like soil that he's going to be testing. This says that there is some areas closer to the mountains which have these kind of limestone, calcite kind of layers that are very impenetrable. But this, you can see the difference in the color of the soil here, and that's part of what he's testing and looking at as well. So I learned something there. It's amazing how quickly he's doing this. I really feel like he knows what he's doing. 12 feet down just sounded excessive to me, but apparently the county needs 6 feet under 6 feet under any possible field. And so that's kind of one of those blanket rules that may not make sense. Change site to site, just like 3 holes, but that's what's necessary. He's now been putting some different soil aside. So this guy's definitely done it before. Looks like he's about 4 feet down now. See that puff of dust come out? I'll have to ask him what that is. What? There's some sort of calcium layer. I don't know. I'm calling it calcium layer. I have no idea what it is. But this suction, once he pulls this up, he's having trouble. Poof, there's a little. Plume of dust coming out. So you can see the difference in that layer compared to the others. That's the 3rd pile he laid aside. And those are the layers that I presume he's going to be testing. Look at the size of the aggregate down there. He's definitely going through a bed of something. Be interesting to know how many years back that is. We're at least 6 feet under now. I think I'd fit in that hole perfectly. Who knows? It could be my burial site. Now I figure he's at least 10. It's reaching some other layer. It broke through something. Soil's a little bit browner. I imagine he's gonna put some soil aside soon to test. You can do this with a smaller machine. There you go. Next layer of test soil. I'm sure you can't see it on camera. I can barely see it. So we're going to drop a stone and count the seconds. Ready? Can you hear the bottom? Getting close to that time of day. Digging the second hole. It won't be the same adventure as the first. I'll just show you around how beautiful it gets this time of night or day. I think we're about 5 p.m. I told this guy he's dug the most beautiful hole I've ever seen. He's done it on some other projects. I won't mention their name, but some YouTubers close to here. And when I watched their video, I was amazed at how beautiful the hole was. He said it was an octagon, and it was a shame to fill it in. Sounds like I found the right guy. Bigger Tonka toys, and like you're mud packing it just like I did. That's amazing. It's amazing how it sucks up the soil. I noticed I did an experiment with the concrete dust as well, and that sucked up the water a lot quicker than the clay. But yeah, the clay comes out. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. You can use that in pottery. I'm glad I wasn't totally wrong in what I was doing. I had no idea. I was just guessing, you know.
When I saw it,
But you're getting the right consistency because you've got the right amount of dry and wet. And squeezing it really makes a difference.
yes.
Yeah, I had no idea you would be doing this. Alright, so this one is a little more malleable. Found something out. I thought that would mean more clay, but it actually means less. This one's a little harder. I can feel it. This one's cooler to the touch. Not sure why. Maybe the water is more present. This one's sucked up more. This one's already getting hard. So this was down probably, what, 2 feet, 4, 6 and 8, sort of that like kind of thing.
2, 4, and then I'll say probably now it goes to 10, and then.
And that's right at the bottom? That's 10?
Or that one ends at 10, and then that one starts.
Okay. So this one, to me, looks more sandy by the color. But they actually say when you're making bricks, having a certain amount of sand in it is better. I guess like kind of aggregate and concrete. Even though that's not your test. You're seeing how porous it is here. Is that right?
Yeah, and how big of a ribbon it makes.
Okay. So when it's harder, when there's more clay, does that mean
Bigger ribbon.
Does that mean that the water will dissipate slower or faster?
Slower.
Slower. Okay. So we're from that septic point of view, we want it to be as sandy as possible, I suppose, right? Because we want it to leach faster, and that's what determines the perk rate.
Mm-hmm.
This one, to me, feels closer to the first, a little harder, but this second one is still the hardest. Is that correct? Okay, now we're going to do the sausage test. There it is. You could have had another profession. I don't think they would do this kind of test somewhere else. But because there's so much clay here, I think that's probably what the local test is.
Got more sand in it.
Yeah, you can feel the sand, right?
And
Kind of the gritty. Still the hardest. And this one's the sandiest. So it breaks apart more. I love that plume of dust. Promise we didn't bury anybody. Well, I guess I won't be falling in that hole. Thought of leaving the hole open because it's much larger than I need just for the intercept tank. But now it's going to be easy to dig.